So hello and welcome to the 12 noon live, and we'll discuss about the India, both the squads on Afghanistan series. Plenty of big calls were taken yesterday when it comes to both the squads, be it ODIs and the Test match, the one-off test which will be played in New Chandigarh. We'll talk about the discussion which is happening all around the place, which is about Rishabh Pant, his place as the Test vice captain. Why was he removed as vice captain, and of course his spot in the ODI team as well? He has not been picked in the ODI squad. He has been dropped completely, but in Test cricket he has been replaced by KL Rahul as the vice captain of the team. So we'll start our discussion with Rishabh Pant, then move to other players as well. Prakash, if you can flash the test squad. This is the test squad in front of your screens. I'll go to Rohit to start with. Rohit, a bit of a harsh call around Rishabh Pant. Let's start with the test team. His vice captaincy, I don't think he did anything wrong in test cricket, but Ajit Agarkar said yesterday that they want him to be the best test player that he was and focus on just his batting and wicket keeping.
So means first of all, cricket is not that kind of sport where you need a lot of your vice captain's input. You have your captain doing really well. This is really good. We all know that, if Rishabh Pant is behind the stumps, he will definitely say something to you as far as his plans is concerned, or maybe just a fielding angle, or maybe a bowling change, or maybe a one-on-one conversation with the bowler, because that's what every wicket keeper, almost every wicket keeper, try to suggest each and everything. Look at Sanju Samson. He trying to, tell maybe a Noor Ahmed day before yesterday in between a over, or maybe a Akil Hussain, that what he think the best at this point of time. Is there in their subconscious that if they think a certain thing, then they will directly communicate to the bowler. And we all know that what Rishabh Pant do. We all know that stump mic, chirps, and everything which is there from Rishabh Pant, as far as just guiding the bowlers, or maybe to award to a captain, or maybe to a fielder. So that will be pretty much on. So first of all, in last 5 or 6 years, if you see, he is the best batter, apart from Rohit Sharma. Because if you see both the WTC cycles, Rohit Sharma was really good in the WTC cycles. I think the most number of centuries, also runs wise, I think Rohit was right up there. But apart from that, if you see Rishabh Pant in last, from that Gaba test, him scoring runs in each and every part of the world, and it's not hidden from anyone. Yes, that Border Gavaskar trophy, that was the time where there was a lot of question asked from Rishabh Pant. The Melbourne shot where Sunil Gavaskar famously said stupid, stupid, stupid. But apart from that, that Sydney innings, half century there. And and apart from the Perth test, nobody has contributed in that Border Gavaskar trophy. Yes, KL Rahul with some important contributions, but that's again from the Perth test and maybe a Brisbane one. But there was no performance from anybody in that whole test series. I think if you see Rishabh Pant's stat, again, he was right up there. Apart from that, look at England. And why England is important last year? Because just before the England series, he got the vice captaincy. He scored two back-to-back centuries in that Leeds test. He scored a second innings half century. It's always important what you do in second innings. And especially when India was very much, closer to a win there, and eventually India won that game. In that, the Birmingham game, he scored a half century in the second innings. Then that first innings half century in Lords, where England was right up there as far as the first innings thing is concerned, because we all know the first session almost went wicketless, and then a Nitish Kumar Reddy spell came, and it was 2 wickets in, I think, 1 over or maybe 2 over, and suddenly India was coming back into the game. And then where everybody applauded him with that broken toe, he came out to bat, score a half century, and it was like the kind of contribution we needed from our vice captain at that point of time, because that was much needed. After that, he was out of the test series because of that fracture. 4 test matches, 2 centuries, 3 half centuries, important contribution as a vice captain also, because his advices to Shubman Gill. Of course, Shubman Gill as a captain, as a batter, led from the front. But apart from that, if you see his contribution, it was right up there, with Yashasvi Jaiswal, with KL Rahul, with Shubman Gill. we cannot ignore the performances of Rishabh Pant. And starting it from the very first test, importantly, Leeds always Leeds always categorized as a venue where it's difficult to bat. There was some drizzle also in a couple of days. It was dark clouds also, so it wasn't easy going for the first test and scoring back to back half centuries. And he was under pressure after that Border Gavaskar Trophy. We knew that what was happening. There was pressure on him that the runs are not coming. And before that, also before that Border Gavaskar Trophy, you covered that series, India versus New Zealand series. It was him in Bengaluru with Sarfaraz Khan building that important partnership in the
Right.
second innings. So if you see the kind of contributions Rishabh Pant had, I don't think that, yes, the best version of Rishabh Pant is somewhere lost in between. But I think the way he was batting, he's still one of the best batters. If you remove that Shubman Gill part from that England series, it is Rishabh
Hmm.
Pant who's your best batter at this point of time. And before that, there were a lot of chatters around that he could be your next captain also. If Border Gavaskar Trophy, if he able to score a couple of centuries there also in Border Gavaskar Trophy, before that he has centuries. Remember that famous century in Cape Town in 2021, where Virat Kohli, I think, scored 71, both of them having a partnership. Eventually, India lost that game, but I was trying to, I was trying to you know, get to those innings where he has struggled for a lot of, where it's about that he's struggling for a lot of matches, and suddenly, there was a lot of pressure on him. So that's what I'm not finding at this point of time, and that's why I'm amazed by this thing, that the chairman selector is saying that we want him to be the best version of himself. But don't you think that this will hamper, this will impact him in some way or other, when with a performance like this you are removing him from the vice captaincy and then you're giving it to KL Rahul? Means you have a Yashasvi Jaiswal there who's a performer, and giving vice captaincy to a 34-year-old, means is that serving to a vision? Is that catering to a futuristic approach that after or somewhere around Shubman Gill, you have a Yashasvi Jaiswal also who's vice captain at this point of time? Because KL done the captaincy, KL been the captain in that Bangladesh Test series, KL been the captain in that South Africa one of Test where Virat got injured. He was the vice captain also. So I don't think, not able to make myself understand that why this has happened, and will it help Rishabh Pant, or will it hit him emotionally again that why I have removed from the vice captaincy position?
Of course, if you go by his pre-match or post-match interviews after the
Exactly.
game yesterday, after the game yesterday, you could sense something has hit him emotionally after both the squads were announced. Vice captaincy, yes. Again, one can say vice captain is not that big in cricket, but
Yeah.
ultimately, if a player is there and a responsibility is taken away from him suddenly, then it does affect
And
you
especially when he's doing
regardless
well.
of. Yes,
Especially when
yes,
he's
yes,
doing well.
absolutely,
And then
absolutely. He
everyone
led the
is,
team. He led the team in Guwahati as well.
yeah.
So if a player is doing well, scoring runs, and despite all of that, he gets removed from a position, it is bound to affect him. But Bharat, how do you
And then,
see
yeah.
this call of Rishabh Pant being removed as Test vice captaincy in ODIs? You are seeing him completely disappear from the squad. Ishan Kishan comes into his place. Uh, so Rishabh Pant, is his stocks dwindling down? What do you think?
Yeah, I think I think it's hard and by, especially when it comes to Test cricket. I genuinely believe that he should have been continued as the vice captain at least. See,
Hmm.
Rishabh Pant is very much an aggressive player, very instinctive player. So with him, you expect few short shots where it feels as if he's trying to play aggressively and then he gets out. So it's like, for example, if a defensive player plays a tentative poke and gets caught behind, that's his way of getting out. But for Rishabh Pant, a lot of times it could be being caught on the boundary. That's his way of getting out. You just have to accept that, because Rishabh Pant still averages over 40 in Test cricket and has played a lot of games getting knocks. So at this point of time, at this point of time, hopefully I'm audible, because current is coming
Yes.
and
Yes,
going.
yes, you are. You are.
So at this point, eh, so at this point of time, I think they should have backed him in Test cricket and made him the vice captain, continued as the vice captain. Because see, as I just noted, you have to give freedom to players like Rishabh Pant to play their national game. Because even going forward, I don't think India will get a lot of batters who belong to the edicts of Test match batsmanship. Even if I see domestic cricket, first class cricket, India's first class cricket, I see enough players who play with an aggressive instinct. They tend to clear their front leg as well. It's not like they're just trying to play very defensively. So Indian management has to strike a balance between, I guess, attack and defense, and they just need to give a little more freedom to players like Rishabh Pant. That's just my humble opinion. In ODI cricket, I might agree. See, because in limit overs cricket, I guess the bowlers, especially the pace bowlers, are bowling very defensively to him. There was a recent article as well when they were talking about when one expert was talking about how his bottom hand grip is not exactly in sync with his top hand grip and is struggling to hit through the offside. So that is something that I think pace bowlers are exploiting in limit overs cricket. So there might be a case there, but in Test cricket, I definitely feel that is hard done by. I think the Indian management has to look beyond looking at every single player through a certain way, through a certain mindset. There would be attacking players, especially in modern times, who would play with certain aggressive instincts, and on occasions they will try to charge down the track, get out, or maybe play lap shot. It's just the way this is just the way they play. It's similar to how maybe a defensive player gets out caught in the slip cordon. So I think that is where the management has to understand. But that's just my humble opinion.
Weber, where do you see Rishabh Pant, the white ball player, going from here? He's just a one format player. If you go by the squads right now, he's not part of the T20 squad now. He's not part of the ODI squad. Where do you see him going as a white ball player from here on?
I think just want to chip in on the test part before I go to the white ball part. I think we need to understand why this decision has been taken. If you see the last test series that India played was against South Africa at home. And you remember that Eden Gardens test where, Shubman Gill picked up that injury in the first innings while batting. From there, Rishabh Pant was the one who led the team. And then from that point, halfway mark of the Eden Gardens test, he led the entirety of the test series, like 2 match test series. Majority of the job, that or captaincy job, was done by Rishabh Pant. It was okay. At one point, you lost the Eden Gardens test. It was still understandable. Rishabh Pant was not ready for that. But when it came to the Guwahati test, it was not just about his batting, the shot selection, which we often associate that at times it's careless shot selection. When you are the captain, you should be better with your shot selection, is what the team management expected. And there were a lot of things that happened after Guwahati test as well. It was not just about Rishabh Pant the batter. I clearly remember we were having this discussion on the Hindi show after the first session that on day one, when India were bowling and the openers are there, new ball bowlers, you expect your more fielders to be inside the inner circle. In Rishabh Pant's case, in that test, Guwahati test, he spread the field immediately. He sent one fielder to the long on boundary, and the ball was still doing a bit. It was still a new ball. It was not even 10 over run, 10 over mark that was touched. I think what team management saw was Rishabh Pant, the captain, halfway in that Eden Gardens test, and the entirety of the Guwahati test just was not good enough with his tactical calls, with his field placements and bowling. So I think we have to look at that as well. Obviously, you can say Rishabh Pant, the batter, this is the way he plays. That is why he's not been dropped from the test squad. Just because he plays and he has given those results as well. But captaincy wise, even if you look at his IPL, whether when he was leading Delhi Capitals, when he's leading Lucknow Super Giants already 2 seasons, things are not looking good. So Rishabh Pant, the captain, will always be a question. So I think that is why they eased off some pressure by not giving him the vice captaincy, because in the South Africa series, when Shubman got injured, the pressure was clearly on Rishabh Pant, the batter, and then he couldn't really get the best out of him as a batter. Now coming to the white ball part, I think See, Rishabh Pant has long been a traveler with the squad. Champions Trophy, he was traveling with the squad since last 2 years, since 2024, since this new team management has come in. He has only been traveling. He's not been getting opportunities. I would say he's been hard done on this part, on limited overs cricket part, because if they think that you are the second best wicketkeeper batter in the world when it comes to white ball cricket, then they should give you opportunities before taking a call on you. How many ODI matches Rishabh Pant has played in the last 2 years? That we have to see. He hasn't played any sort of ODI matches. Team management must understand that if you want to look at your second, if you want to lock in a second wicket keeper batter, you should give him opportunities, because as of now we know last World Cup, also 2023 World Cup, KL Rahul was the first choice wicket keeper batter. This time around, we are just 1.5 years away from the next World Cup, and KL Rahul still remains your first choice wicket keeper. He has done exceedingly well, whether it was 2023 World Cup or last Champions Trophy as a finisher. No doubts, but you have to groom the second wicketkeeper batter as well. And there, Rishabh Pant hasn't been given a lot of chances. If you say that we have given him one series, two consecutive series, two back-to-back series, Rishabh Pant has failed to make an impact as a batter or a wicketkeeper, then if you are dropping in, then it makes sense. Then you can say to Rishabh Pant, see, your performances are not up to the mark, that's why we are dropping you. But without playing him in the playing 11, without trying him, you cannot make an opinion about Rishabh Pant, the white ball batter, only on the basis of his performances in the IPL, because IPL is completely different. In one day cricket, he'll not be leading the team. Whenever he leads the team, there is an outside pressure on him. That is what I have found in Rishabh Pant, the leader. But Rishabh Pant, the white ball player, if you are playing him, then only you will see what he can bring to the bit. We know the X factor that he is. But the problem is, team management hasn't given him opportunities that that you can say that Rishabh Pant hasn't done well. That's why we are dropping him. So I think it's hard done on Rishabh Pant when it comes to white ball cricket. I don't think it's fair to judge him on the basis of IPL performances, that he will perform he will perform in the same manner in 50-over cricket, because 50-over cricket you can buy your time, which Rishabh Pant does in Test cricket as well.
Well said, a point,
Hmm.
small point.
Yes,
I may
sir.
be wrong in this, but whatever little information I know, whatever little I get, I think Rishabh Pant's two shots, especially that shot in Gawati, I think it is gone. It is gone, kind of gone against him. But that's where I just made that particular point. I think we seem to have different yardsticks for an aggressive batter and also for a defensive batter who kind of plays with a lot of these tentative pokes. So that is where I think the management has to look at whether they're having the same yardsticks for an aggressive batter and also for a defensive batter.
Yeah, my point is, when you stand and clap on those when those shots come off, then please don't criticize him when they don't come off. That's the only
Yes.
thing. Uh, it's
Just to add to a point for Rishabh Pant, as I noted, getting caught on the boundary is like getting caught in the slip cordon for someone else. I think that is where you have to look at.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So let's move on from Pant. Rohit, if we have
Just
to
want to
talk
add
about,
just want to add one ODI point which Weber was saying.
yes, yes.
If you see his last 5 to 10 games in ODI, before that accident happened,
Hmm.
there was one century, one match-winning knock in Manchester, 125 not out. There was a half century before that. 2 times he didn't bat it. There was a duck also in between them, and there was 1 or 2 single-digit scores also. So it doesn't give you an idea that what the one-day performance looks like, or maybe it does, because there is a Manchester 100, the 125. Then there is a half century versus West Indies. Then there is a couple of times when he didn't bat it because the opportunity didn't came. There is 1, 2 single digit scores also there. And then he got a chance in Sri Lanka within these 2, 3 years. I'm talking about from 2024 to now, means what it is 2026 at this point of time, and almost similar. So in last couple of years, take 2 years at this point of time, 2 years, just one game. That's what the reason why Ishan Kishan flew back to India from South Africa, because he didn't got any opportunity. He was traveling with the team, and didn't got anything as far as the game time is concerned. So my only point is, if you, and what Weber is saying, that if you are taking a second wicket keeper, then allow him to play at least. Look, if you are playing a 5 match series, give a couple of games to the reserve wicket keeper also, because
Hmm.
if you see KL Rahul and if you see Ishan Kishan, if you see KL Rahul and if you see Rishabh Pant, There's not a very huge difference as far as their batting skills are concerned. So it won't be like that people will criticize you that why you dropped a particular player or not. So if you are carrying him with you, now don't do this with Ishan Kishan. My only request is don't do similar thing with Ishan Kishan, that you're carrying him till 2027 World Cup. And what we are seeing that, in this, 1.5 years phase, Ishan has played only one game or two game. And then if the opportunity arrives at a World Cup scenario, then there is a chance that we can say that, oh, he's not prepared enough. Because if you don't give Virat Kohli 3 years, one game in 3 years, I don't think even Virat Kohli will struggle. Even Virat Kohli will struggle if you're just carrying him with you, that come to Australia, come to England, come to New Zealand, come to Bangladesh, and you will play only one game in between them, and then the things will fall like this only. So I think yes, Ishan Kishan is doing really good at this point of time. He's better than Rishabh Pant at this point of time, but do give opportunities to your reserve wicketkeeper. Otherwise, you don't have, you can't just say that we want Rishabh Pant to do well in red ball format. That's why we are dropping him from white ball format. That things doesn't go like that only. And he has performances before that also. It's not like that. Yes, T20 wise, I completely agree that he don't have performances in T20.
Yes.
But in ODIs, there is some innings at least he played before getting dropped, before that accident, and after coming back from that accident, he just played one game in 2 years and then dropped.
Interesting. Let's move quickly to the number 3 debate as well. I'll take short answers on this. You have 3 players: Sai Sudarshan, Devdutt Padikkal, and Washington Sundar as well. I'm counting Washi because he has batted at number 3 in Test cricket. Who do you think will get the nod, or who do you think should get the nod for this one-off test at number 3, and should be persisted with in that particular spot? I'll start with Rohit before I go to Bharat and then Vaibhav.
I think I'll carry on with Sai Sudarshan. He's technically really good. Yes, Dev is also really good, and so as Washington Sundar. But I think Washington Sundar was just an experiment there at the number 3. He did really well. He's technically sound. He has that temperament also. But I think with Sai Sudarshan, there's a lot of chopping and changing. We all know that what happened in England: one game a different combination, second game a different combination. Throughout that England series, it was different combinations to offer. And then again coming to India, played 4 test matches, 2 versus West Indies, 2 versus South Africa. They tried different combinations. Let's persist with Sai Sudarshan for a couple of games or maybe 3 games, and then take a big call that either you have to go with a Devdutt Padikkal or maybe a Washington Sundar or someone else.
Bharat, your pick?
Yeah, I tend to agree. See, you have backed someone like Sudarshan to the hilt over a period of time. Then obviously you need to keep backing him. See, he has good temperament. I've seen him in A games, not necessarily while playing for India. Maybe there was 1 or 2 innings in England. But while playing A games, I've seen that in Australia when the ball was seaming around and the likes of Rutraj Gaikwad and the rest failed. It was Sai Sudarshan who got 97, I think 97 or 98 in some really tough conditions. The ball was nipping around. So there is some background, there is some context to him being a gritty player in A cricket, unofficial test matches. See, Sai Sudarshan has his weakness. It's not like he doesn't have any weakness. For example, I think that in swinger kind of troubles him if maybe he falls back, if falls over a little bit, his head falls over a little bit. Sometimes it could be like he could be caught down the leg side as well. And Shardul Thakur in the Ranji Trophy has troubled him as well with that in swinger. But I think he's a gritty player and a very decent player of spin. I won't put him in the category of being a great versus spin because even in that Gawati Test second innings, he was able to defend, but he was struggling to play shots in that knock of 14 or 130 or whatever balls that he faced. But he showed some composure, was able to defend for long. So I think there are some ingredients in Sai Sudarshan. So hopefully they will continue with him. Yes, Devdutt Padikkal is someone who had a great season. The Ranji Trophy has done well in A cricket, but I think he might have to just wait for a little longer. So I think I will take your leave because I have to. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, Bharat. Vaibhav, 2 votes for Sai. Who are you going with?
Ruturaj
Yeah,
Gaikwad.
I'll also go with Sai Sudarshan only because See, I still believe that he's a good player of spin. I understand against West Indies, against South Africa, it didn't go well, but you have to understand it was his first home season. You have to give him time. Not everybody can be like Sarfaraz Khan and Dhruv Jurel, that they come in and they, play good innings, score half centuries, and make their mark. So I think with Sai Sudarshan, you have to be patient because he's a very patient player and picks up length really well against spin. This is, one of his qualities, and can play a long innings. That is where you won't find a lot of players who can stay in there for 100 deliveries, playing for only 20 19 runs. So this is what Sai Sudarshan can do. He has a very cool head on his shoulders. He can absorb pressure. He can play a lot of balls, which is the demand of Test cricket. Nowadays you see batters when they play 2 3 maidens, then they play a false shot. Sai Sudarshan won't do that because Sai Sudarshan has that temperament to play the long innings. He has played a lot of first class cricket for Tamil Nadu as well. So I think Sai Sudarshan for me. One more contender that can be put in for the number 3 spot is Dhruv Jurel. I have no doubts that he can be, play cannot be try can be tried as a specialist batter. Rishabh Pant being your first choice wicketkeeper in Test cricket, you can definitely play Dhruv Jurel as a specialist batter because he is a good fielder as well. This is what we have seen whenever he is fielded for India. He is a good fielder as well. So I think Dhruv Jurel also has a good technique and temperament and can be number 3.
Okay. Interesting. Dhruv Jurel also in this debate. But yes, I think all three of us went with Sai Sudarshan. Let's see what the team management is thinking about, whether it's Sai, whether it's Devdutt Padikkal, whether it's Washi, whether it's Dhruv Jurel. We'll get to know in a coming days. We'll continue this squad review in the coming days as well. We'll talk about the middle order batters. We'll talk about the spin bowlers now that the team is seemingly moving ahead of Jadeja in the coming days. We'll talk about every bit. So stay tuned to Rev Sports. Like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel for all the news related to sporting world. Thank you so much.
Thank you.